human rights and the COVID-19 vaccine supply. Secretary Blinken started his visit on Wednesday by addressing a group of civil society leaders in New Delhi. He praised the relationship between India and the US, saying the two countries have a shared commitment to democratic values. After meeting with India's Foreign Minister and his counterpart Dr. S. Jaishankar, Mr. Blinken will be meeting with Prime Minister Narendra Modi before leaving for Kuwait later. Sriyoshi Mukherjee, New Delhi.
From bureaus worldwide, this is FSN.
With FSN Spotlight, I'm Simon Marks. Today, COVID-19 in Australia, where the latest lockdown has now been lifted in the state of Victoria, which encompasses the city of Melbourne. But restrictions are still in place in New South Wales, with Sydney still the pandemic's epicentre in Australia. More than half the country's population has been under lockdown restrictions over the last few weeks after the Delta variant hit Sydney and then spread to 4 neighbouring states. But Tom McElroy, political reporter in Canberra with the Australian Financial Review, says at least in Victoria, residents are relieved that the latest curbs have been lifted.
The state and Melbourne, the biggest city, has had 6 months of lockdowns in the last year and a half. I think there's relief among Melburnians and Victorians more broadly that the restrictions are easing. There will be some remaining restrictions for a couple of weeks, including no visitors to the home. Federally, the national government is relieved that Victoria is starting to come out of that lockdown, but Sydney and New South Wales, where there's a much tougher situation continuing, remains a real concern.
Anti-lockdown demonstrations in Melbourne and Sydney last weekend were met with a substantial police presence. Adding to the country's difficulties, the Australian government is struggling with public rejection of the AstraZeneca vaccine at a time when sufficient doses of alternatives are not available. With FSN Spotlight, I'm Simon Marks.
To recap our top stories, the US and Russia are meeting in Geneva to discuss how nuclear weapons should be managed and deployed by the world's 2 greatest nuclear powers. France has become the 5th country in the world to pass the mark of 6 million confirmed COVID-19 cases. Fully vaccinated travellers from the US and EU might soon be allowed to enter the UK without needing to quarantine. And the US Secretary of State is meeting his Indian counterpart and other officials on a 2-day visit. That's the latest feature story news. Chris Jones reporting.
You're listening to
Northern Light Public Radio
on 102.7 KCHW.
Tooele.
New intro?
New intro.
Oh, what are we supposed to do? Cheerleading things?
Yes, you are.
Okay.
It's all stomps and claps. Do your little dance that you've been practicing. Okay, stop now.
Hey, Mickey, hey, Mickey.
Oh, man, that'd be so bad.
A little Tony Basil here.
Yeah. All right, claps and stomps to get you going. Here we go. Good morning. It's KCHW 102.7, 724. Scott and Mike in the studio on a Wednesday.
That's right.
We've had a run of people taking vacation days. So I've been by myself on
really?
Friday and yesterday with Val. So I'm glad you're here today.
So if you're a volunteer, how do you take a vacation day? Aren't you?
You just say, I'm not going to be here.
You're not going to be here?
I'll just have to deduct that from your pay.
Okay.
All right. Trying some new technology. Hope it works today. A little piece of software. We are streaming live to our website. If you want to watch some video this morning, because we've got Mary Knauss joining us at 8 o'clock.
Oh.
She's also our honored citizen this year. So kind of like our farewell broadcast kind of deal. We might get her on once more before she's done. But yeah, we're going to talk about that stuff in the election, I'm sure. All right. So we are streaming live to Facebook, Twitch, and YouTube all at the same time, waiting for something to explode.
Every time you say Twitch, I keep thinking, what is that?
So Twitch was a website for gamers, and then they kind of opened it up for anybody trying to expand their platform. And we used to use a company called Vaughn TV to embed our video feed on our website so that we always have video coming out of the studio.
Right.
They stopped allowing embedding.
Okay.
And so they kind of became useless because you don't really want to drive people away from your website or your Facebook page or something like that, and that's what they switched to. If you want to watch a video of KCHW, you'd have to click a link and then go to their webpage, and I didn't like that, so I found Twitch. It just started, and it's a free service, which is even better for public radio. And one of the things when they opened up their platform that they were allowing was radio stations, so I quickly signed up. So.
Okay.
So
All
that's
right,
the feed on the website comes directly from them if you go to our listen and watch page.
So there's no excuse. They can get to us multiple ways.
Yeah, and it's great too because they have an app. Just like for listening to the audio only, we're on TuneIn and Alexa and Radio Deck and Twitch has an app too, so you can download the Twitch app just like you download a YouTube app and watch live there too.
And then it's worldwide on top of it. Then.
And it's worldwide, baby. That's right. We're on global television right now, Mike. Global.
Okay.
And I think we have 3 viewers. 3. A lot more people in their cars, though, and we thank you, too, and all those people at home, right? All right. Looks like I'm looking at the INSEE website, and it looks like a couple of the fires around Wenatchee out.
Oh, good.
Removed from the map. The one down by Yakima, removed from the map. Those 6 around Lewiston, they're still going. And, of course, we've got a couple in the Okanagan Forest. We're actually, the southerly wind's been keeping our skies blue, but we're surrounded by fires. If it switches from the east or west, we're in trouble because they're all around us. So we've been, if you think the smoke's bad, just remember, we're lucky. I've seen pictures and had phone calls from friends who have it way worse than we do.
Right.
We've had this weird little trough of air inversion from the south, and it's really kept a lot of the smoke. Even though you can smell it and see it out there, it could be a lot worse.
It's a real light haze.
Yeah, it could be a lot worse.
Yeah. Well, first time ever at the airport, we had 5 helicopters stationed there the other day.
Yeah.
I mean, and so maybe it's because it's blue sky here. Who knows?
And we'll take a look at that weather forecast because there were some chances of rain. And with the chances of rain this time of year, of course, that means some lightning and then more forest fires. So it's a trade-off, a bad one. Today we're looking for 93 for a high, 62 for an overnight low. For your Thursday, the sunshine will return all the way. Today, just a mix of cloud and sun. Thursday, the sun returns 98. Mostly sunny on Friday, 102. Saturday, 105. And then we'll shift gears. Sunday, drop all the way back down to 90 from 105. And that'll be a cloudy day with a 25% chance of rain. Wow.
I was listening to a newscast last night, or a weathercast, and they said for the month of July, if it continues up, the average high will be somewhere north of 90.
I believe it.
And I'm thinking, wow.
Yeah, mid-90s probably.
Yeah.
Let's see. So add Sunday at 90 and a 25% chance of rain, 24 according to them. And same deal for Monday, 89, mostly cloudy. 24% chance of rain. Even that Tuesday, partly cloudy, 90, and a 16% chance of rain. They've really narrowed it down. Then on next Wednesday, 2%.
Well, the theory is anything's hope now.
Yeah, that's right. I think that's why they put the 2% in there.
Yeah.
I keep picturing the meteorologist drunk, though, when I see the 2%. Let's just put a 2 on there.
Just in case.
Keep them guessing. There's a chance somebody might sneeze on you.
Yeah, well, I know I walked outside this morning. It was pleasantly cool.
It is pleasantly cool.
Really nice out there this morning.
All right. Should we say fall's coming?
Yeah, okay. Yeah, well, I kind of looked at the longer range forecast to do some forecasting for some golf course things we're looking at doing, and it's not pretty.
It's not pretty. Pretty warm is what you're saying.
Exactly.
It's pretty warm.
Yeah.
All right.
Pretty crunchy out there.
All right. You got any things coming up at the golf course tournaments yet?
Actually, today we have the Ladies Invitational from and I can never get it right, but they call it SAWGA, SAWGA.
Okay.
It's the organization. It's the PGA or LPGA organization out of Spokane.
Nice.
We have 140 ladies showing up today to play golf.
Wow. I'm in the wrong place.
They'll be starting here in about 20 minutes. But
catch me a golf cart.
Well, ironically, Wednesday is Ladies' Day up there. I mean, they get special pricing and some things off in the restaurant and stuff like that. And it just happened to be they schedule it on a Wednesday this year. So, and we're pretty excited about that because that's a group that loves coming up here. And frankly, it's a demographic that's growing on the golf side. And, we're nice to be part of that group.
Mm-hmm.
Course is in phenomenal shape. We had I think I maybe mentioned this last week, but we had our agronomist come up from Spokane and survey the entire course. And
yes.
He said it's phenomenal.
One of the best he'd seen.
One of the best we've seen in the inland Northwest. And so still pumping lots of water, as you can imagine.
Just a little.
We're actually, noticed the other day in select areas, we're on to our third watering in a 24-hour period. And normally we don't do that because, frankly, the pumps can't pump enough water. That type of thing. Rest of the week pretty booked. Jason will, if you call up the pro shop, they'll tell you anytime after about 1 or 1:30 you can show up without a tea time if you want to, because heat of the day type thing,
Sure.
So, I think we're cooking.
Well, the ladies will have a good one today at 93.
It'll be
nice.
And by the time the majority of them get done, it's just starting to get into that heat of the day, and so. But pretty proud of getting that. Last year, of course, we get it every year, but last year it was canceled, because of COVID. So it's been 2 years. In fact, all the tournaments have been 2 years. We were just looking at the numbers the other day, and some of them are coming back. I mean, Romp and Roar, which they do up there in September as a fundraiser for the Lions, is back this year, and
Good.
I'll have more information on that as we get closer to the September dates. But and we're glad to have them back, because that's always a fun time. I mean, you really don't have to be a golfer when you can golf with a bowling ball.
or a shotgun.
No shotguns, but bowling balls, golfing out of toilets. I mean, stuff like that. They do a good job up there for that. It's a fun time.
Okay.
So restaurant. We're still, people are. They like that indoor air conditioning.
And what did you send me a little note? You've expanded your hours at night?
We're actually starting to reduce them because of dusk. Yeah.
Okay.
So the hours as of August 1st will be from 8 in the morning until 8:30 at night instead of 9 o'clock, and they'll stay that way through August, and then September we'll gradually start reducing the hours on the restaurant, because it really does to some degree follow the golf course.
Okay.
And we'll make a determination here probably in the next month on how we're going to open through the winter. We're probably going to be open Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Well, like we were before. We're debating adding Thursday, and that's more of a thing to catch like Thursday night football, Gonzaga basketball, that type of
stuff.
Yeah. So that's up in the cards right now. We're looking at that, but. Frankly, it's a cost issue, more than anything else. You got to drive revenue to be able to pay for it.
And have enough people coming in to pay those salaries and stuff for the workers, right?
For the workers, yeah. So, but yeah, I visited with Sean yesterday, and I mean, they're busy. That's all I can say, which is nice.
Town is all the restaurants you see.
They are,
lots
yeah.
of people
Actually,
hopping around.
I've been kind of. Loretta and I have been trying in the last month to try a couple different restaurants around town, and every place we've been has had people in there when we got there, so that's nice. I mean, it's nice getting people out, and I know First Thursday's coming up here. Next Thursday actually?
Next Thursday.
And I see that it's expanded out. So Sporty's is part of it, and the Mountain Market is part of that, and of course Tim's Gallery is part of that, and the brewery's part of that. So they're slowly they were really kind of shut down just to Tim for the COVID. Now they're starting to expand it out, and that's nice. That'll really be a big push for downtown.
And we're going to have a special, because I know sometimes you book people for the show on Wednesday.
Right.
And next Wednesday, the guest artist for First Thursday, I couldn't make it till the afternoon because she's in Spokane, so we didn't want to make her come in for the morning show. So we're going to have a special interview at 4 o'clock next Wednesday on the radio.
Super.
And we'll have the webcams going and be broadcasting on the different platforms and doing art on the radio again. So.
Yeah. Well, and I think so this is the first, or August will be the first month they're doing the artist talk too. I think the Wednesday before.
That's
Thursday.
back. Yep.
That's back. So stuff is coming back. I mean,
and we hope we get to keep it that way.
Yeah, we hope we get to keep it that way. That's a roll the dice type thing. I think it's gonna be awful hard to turn it back the full distance, but yeah, I mean, it's right now. I think people are opening based upon traffic flow, frankly. because you really got to be sensitive from a cost standpoint of keeping an eye on things, as your business opens up. You just can't open the doors 100% initially. So, and that's all across the nation. We spend a fair amount of time studying trends and things like that, and I mean, people are having trouble hiring people, and there's positions all over and stuff like that.
There is. Everybody's got signs up for jobs, but nobody wants to get off unemployment.
Yeah.
Let me say this: lazy Americans. Wow. Imagine
that's
that.
a lightning rod. But yeah, I had. That's a factor. But I think there's a lot of factors in that at this point. I think, frankly, part of it is people are. It made them sit back and say, maybe we need to change our lifestyle so we're not living paycheck to paycheck, and we're watching how we're spending our money, and is it really worth it to have a 2-income family, that type of thing.
All right. So, you guys still looking for people up at the restaurant up at the golf course?
We are.
And I know, I saw it, like going into Safeway, they had like 4 departments that they were hiring for. There's jobs all over. If you need a job, they're all over Chihuahua.
Yeah, and the nice thing about, of course, the restaurant is seasonal, and so is golf. I mean, so, and we've got 2 months left, maybe on the golf side. I think October 15th is pretty much when it shuts down. But that's also about the time the ski hill starts up. And so, from a seasonal standpoint, if that's the type of work you like, you do have that opportunity in Chihuahua, because they're opposite seasons. And so, but yeah, no, there's lots of for-hire type stuff out there, and the minimum wage is $13.79 an hour or something like that. So
woohoo!
Yeah, but which is way better than other parts of the country. I can tell you that. I think there's only 5 states that are pretty equivalent to Washington. So, but they're. Like I say, it's been a good year. I think it'll continue to be a good year, even with the afternoons being really slow. We're booking people at 5:30 in the morning now. I mean, so. Yep.
All right.
Things are cooking along pretty good. We're starting to build our next year plan.
All right.
And of course we'll build in that good old KCHW underwriting fee into our budget.
Woohoo! Whoa. Yeah, don't forget when you're doing your budget for next year, include KCHW.
That's right.
That's
right. I was on a call the other day talking about nonprofits, and they said people give money philanthropically or they give it for branding. KCHW gives a choice on both.
There you go. I like that. I like it.
So, I think, like I say, we put a known smoking policy up there as much as we can. I mean, once you're away from the clubhouse, it's pretty hard to, But as you can imagine, I played golf last Friday, and I mean the course is in really beautiful condition given the fact how hot it's been. I mean, but the fringes, they're like walking on, popcorn. I mean, it's just snap, 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 snap. I mean, there's just no moisture out there at all.
I know.
But, and that's what scares us. I mean, the wind came up last night, late yesterday afternoon. It was blowing pretty hard. I don't know if you were outside, but it was really cooking.
Yeah, immediately when you step outside this time of year and you get hit by that wind, you're like, oh man, the firefighters.
That's exactly. Yeah, and I heard somebody the other day complaining about the helicopter noise, and I'm thinking, you're an idiot. There's no other word for it,
I heard about that too. So and I could kind of see that. You like the pristine nature up there, and maybe you spent a lot of money for a lot up by the golf course, and now you have to have your windows rattled. I get it, but what's the alternative? It's like I was saying the other day. You get on that INSEE website, and it's hard to find a mountain range that doesn't have a fire in it. That's our forests. And that's the Pacific Northwest, and it's going up in smoke. And this is the. Well, it's been going on for several years, and this is a new norm for us, so get used to it. You want helicopters, in your backyard. The response time when a fire breaks out around here is within 5 minutes. I mean, it really is. If there's a fire somewhere, within 5 minutes, there's aircraft on top of it because of what DNR is doing and other agencies. So support them.
In fact, this is maybe a guest I'll get on here is Jim Caruso. He's the Stevens County Emergency Management Coordinator. and I actually played golf with him last Friday, and we were talking about response times and things like that. And he said, Mike, he says there's way more fires out there than are reported, but frankly, we're able to get on them and get on them now. We have the manpower, we have the resources, and so he said, I can't imagine if 5 years ago, if we'd been in the same position, a lot of these would have been taken off.
Well, there was one early again by my place that I had to get evacuated for this summer. I mean, one of the earliest fires, and within 4 hours they had it out.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
where the last time it, almost burned the gas station down and just took over.
Yeah.
So yeah, that response time makes a difference. Yeah. All right, I don't want to rehash everything with the Creative District, but I am curious, you guys, after your event and the ribbon cutting at the kiosk, you had a flyer out there, and I want to urge people to fill out your questionnaire. Do you have it up on the website?
Not as of Monday.
Okay.
I haven't checked since then, so I'll look and see. But yeah, and we're probably, we were flat told we wouldn't know what our funding is until sometime between August 15th and the 1st of September. And actually, we kind of took the month of July off, and we're going to have our first the meeting of part of the board next week and start building out what we've received already, and then we'll be asking for more as far as projects people would like to see. We've already had 2 people mention that they would like to see murals. In fact, one of them offered to fund one of them, so I think that's a huge benefit to get started.
And I know another business is going to do one and just take it on themselves to paint something on their building.
Yeah,
so.
yeah. And so, and it really is a springboard off the Creative District, because then people see it, they like it. We can give them access to artists. I mean, or they may even have their own, I don't know. But yeah, that's coming. And like I say, our goal anyway is to hit the ground running probably around the 1st of October with the designated projects. We've got right now, as of August 1st, the grant team is going to be, we've got 5 grants identified we're going to go after without the stuff coming from the state. Then, you just don't know on those whether you're going to get them or you're not going to get them, but, you don't get anything if you don't apply.
There you go.
And so, and those grants are not for the faint of heart. They're not easy to do. They're easy to do. They're just very cumbersome. There's just a lot of information you have to have on hand, and so yeah, we're
and
pretty
numbers and accounts and all that kind of stuff that we don't want to bore people with.
Exactly. And we'll have a membership drive sometime around the 1st of October. Because we're unique in the state of Washington, is we do have a membership element to ours. The rest of the creative districts, at least last I heard, none of them have a membership element built into them. And that's really the way it's going to continue moving forward here. Is, like I said before, it's just very similar to the radio station. It's going to survive on grants, donations, and memberships. And you have to have all 3. Memberships is what really creates your floor, your stability.
Because that gives you, too, when you need those matching funds and that type of stuff. And all the volunteering and tracking that, because that's in-kind donation stuff.
That's right. So. Yeah. It's not an easy. It's not a simple project. That's probably the best way to do it. But yeah, the feedback we've got so far, it's been 100% to me. In fact, the feedback's been, how can we get more? I mean, that type of thing. And well, we can, and the plan is to do that. Those types of things.
All right.
Okay.
You got that date burned in your mind for the chamber auction?
I do.
And I know Sandy's looking for donations.
It is. It's October 2nd. It's at the Civic Center. I haven't seen what the meals are, but there'll be, I'm sure, some kind of a beef and some kind of a fish thing at this point. $30 a person for the ticket to get in, which includes the meal. Sandy at the chamber is, and it's 935-8595, is looking for donations for the auction itself. The raffle, the tickets are available, and I keep forgetting them all. So I brought in a flyer this morning. The tickets are available at United Drug, Acres United Drug, Valley Drug, and the chamber office, or you can buy them online on the website.
All right. Is our auctioneer back this year?
I do not know.
Okay.
The raffle, you know, they have the raffle for chamber bucks and gift cards and things like that. Those are the same as always. They're $5 a piece. I would encourage you to buy those because I'm the last winner of those.
Oh. Did people boo you when you won?
Well, you know, we're still using them 2 years later because it was over $3,000 worth of gift cards.
Wow.
So it's a not only a great fundraiser, obviously for the chamber, but it's actually a lot of fun when you get it. And you can buy as many of those as you want. You can walk into Sandy and say, "Here's $500." You know,
500 tickets.
You're
padding it now. You're just padding it.
But yeah, she's pulling her hair out because it's a lot of work putting that together. You know, at this point, and it's the primary focus that Sandy has right now, actually, with the chamber. As far as the chamber goes, the what used to be called the EDC committee is now called the marketing committee. It's actually the marketing and business development, or marketing and business destination committee. You know, we're working on some things. The stay and play that we did the last quarter is coming up. It'll start on August 6th, I believe. And that's all digital, 100% digital to enter that contest. It's Facebook, website, you know, that type of thing. Last time we had about 1,500 entries. Ironically, the majority of them from women out of state.
Really?
Which is exactly what you want, by the way.
Women from out of state.
Yeah,
yep.
well, out of state. I mean, you maybe, but you know, a person locally ironically won it. And the next like I say, the next stay and play is going to feature Nordlig as the place you can stay. The last one was Silver Beach Resort, and then a variety of other, you know, donors yet to be announced because we're still working on that. And it's, you know, gift cards and stuff like that.
All right.
So it's I think the last stay and play package is worth. Well, we have to keep. We found out this is weird. We found out we had to keep it under $600 because we don't restrict Canadians. Is that weird?
Oh, there's all sorts of weird contest
man.
laws when you go onto the website.
When you go onto the website,
scary.
you're pretty sort of, why are we even doing contests? Can't do anything.
Well, there's one in there that if you do a 50-50 raffle that you need to notify the police department.
Police department, yeah. Otherwise, it's gambling.
Yeah. So I've downloaded their little form and I go over to the police department and I turn it in and they're like looking at me like I'm crazy. They go, we've never gotten one of these before. We don't even know what to do with it.
We've ran into that before. A variety of different things. It's considered gambling at a certain point. So,
you got that 501c slip, so you're okay there.
Yeah,
all right.
Exactly. Yeah, no,
all right.
But the community I think right now is really stepping up. It's you know, every time I'm down here, there's cars parked on the street. That's always a positive sign. The park's being used a lot. I don't know if you drive by it a lot, but every time I've been by, there's always something going on in the park. People are doing something in the park.
Yep.
So.
All right.
Okay.
All right. Then don't forget, we might as well plug, since you're talking about the park, our farmers market.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
This Friday, 11 to 3:30.
Yeah. I've been bugging Brad about coming back on.
He did a good job. He's got a great voice.
He's got a great voice, and you know, and he's like he said, he's a Renaissance man, so he can talk about anything.
There you go.
But I'll see if we can get him back on here over the next week, and our honored citizen is out there.
She is
staring at you.
All right, come on in and grab a seat. We're almost ready for you. Just a couple news headlines as we get ready to go to break and hit Mike with a little trivia, and then our honored citizen and a little talk with our mayor. Throw out this just because it's kind of public information. McCormick, you know, the spice company, doing a big recall. 3 seasonings McCormick want you to pull off your shelf if you bought it. Perfect Pinch Italian seasoning. I use this next one, a culinary Italian seasoning. I have some of that on my shelf. And Frank's Red Hot Buffalo Ranch seasoning, all from McCormick, being pulled off the shelves due to salmonella in your spices.
Okay. So, Loretta, did you hear that? Because she uses McCormick spices.
Yeah, so
but I don't think any of those.
Be careful out there. Yeah, don't trust the spices. Yeah, they're going to be a little too spicy. That's all I can say. If you've never had salmonella before,
they're going to have a bite.
Yeah. All right. So we covered all the fire stuff. Some sad stuff online this morning. I hate waking up and finding the bad news stories. Several stories of testifying going on over the Capitol stuff on the 6th of January. And then something really sad, and this is, I'm going to just talk about it. You know, when you're going to put out movies about a purging society, you know, those purge movies, right? And there's one called The Forever Purge now. When you're going to make stupid movies like that, don't be surprised when there's a shooting at a movie theater. I mean, you're putting that stuff out there for the public, and some of us are not wound tightly enough.
Or too tight.
Or too tight. Yeah, something like that. But yeah, a shooting at a movie theater showing that movie.
Right.
And I don't know. I think the Europeans had it best. You know, they're not worried about sex on TV or in the movies. They're worried about violence and what that causes. And I'm kind of along. I think we kind of got it backwards in America, you know.
Yeah.
All right, but yeah, so some scary stuff out there for news headlines. Are you ready for some trivia this morning, Mike?
Sure, why not?
And Dorothy, good morning, Dorothy.
Good morning.
How are you?
I'm good, thanks.
All right. Do you think you could take Mike on a couple trivia questions?
Probably not.
Probably not.
See, I'm either getting famous or infamous, so it puts the pressure on me. And
are you willing to try?
No,
think
I
no.
really
Okay,
would not
you're all on your own, Mike.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Oh, okay.
I'm sorry,
Okay.
Mike. I tried.
The following program is closed captioned for the thinking impaired.
It's just Mike today.
That's right. No default
I want
here.
to ask you a bunch of questions. I want to have them answered immediately.
All right. You ready for this, Mike?
Am I ever?
All right. So maybe if you ask nicely, like if you don't know the answer to the question, you could look at Dorothy and just kind of go, please, and see if she'll help you. Kind of like phone a friend.
Phone
All
a friend?
Phone a friend. All right. First trivia question for Mike this morning. If you visit Alaska, Hawaii, Maine, or Vermont, you won't see what?
Alaska,
Hawaii, Maine, or Vermont. You won't see what?
Snakes.
No, it's something on the highway.
Oh. Something on the highway?
I know Fort Collins, Colorado's kind of like this. It's a city that's adopted.
Advertising. Billboards.
There you go. No billboards. Billboards are illegal in those states.
Yeah,
And
I remember years ago, I think it was President Johnson put in the anti-billboard thing. That tells you how old we're getting.
Wow.
It's like in the 60s. And they tried to do that in Montana and didn't work out very well.
Fort Collins, Colorado, did the same kind of thing within city limits.
Yeah.
And they even put in a law that you can't have your sign way up in the air.
so
So
high,
everything's at the ground. So like if you're going to Target or Walmart, you'll miss it because by the time you see the sign in the bushes, you've already passed it.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, Missoula's gone that way where everything's got to be a pedestal sign or it can't be any taller than the building. And that it's in front of. And so the problem with that is especially if they start lighting those signs when you're going down the street, for people like me, you can't, it's hard to discern anything. It all kind of looks like one big neon bar.
All right. Well, at least you're taller than the signs. I'm not.
Yeah, but you can see it in the bushes.
All right. In a survey, when asked what father did best during baby's first week, 21% of new mothers said what?
Stay away.
Exactly. Stay out of the way. All right. He doesn't need any help. Wow. All right. 56,000 of these animals served during World War II. What were they?
That's a pretty small number for saying dogs.
56,000 of these animals served during World War
Camels.
II. No. I don't even think 56,000 dogs served in World War II.
I said camels.
But no, it's not camel.
Okay.
It's a really bad guess.
56,000 of these animals served. Served, does that mean they ate them? No?
They only have 2 legs.
Oh, only 2 legs. Man, that's a tough one. Kangaroos?
Birds. Carrier pigeons.
Oh,
56,000 carrier pigeons.
Okay. All
Sending
right.
messages attached to birds.
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay. Yeah, I had a friend of mine that still has carrier pigeons.
And you
It's a
thought
big
Morse
hobby.
code was old.
Yeah, go back,
All right, attendance at these declines 21% during the summer months.
Movie theaters.
No, sir. Attendance at these declined 21% during the summer months. This is bad.
Man.
I don't know.
Help me out.
21%. Any guesses there? No, no help from your phone a friend. All right. Attendance of these declines 21% during the summer months. Nobody likes to be sweaty when they're sitting on the pew. Church attendance drops 21% in the summer.
I could see that actually.
All right, Mike, you go through almost 7 quarts of this every minute.
Blood circulates.
You're in trouble if you're going through 7 quarts of blood.
Air.
There you go, air. That's right. Yours a little hotter than most, but yes. Hey, I got Dorothy to laugh this morning.
That's right.
Chemist Charles Alderton named this drink after the father of a girl he was dating. What's the product?
Name the drink. Is it like a cocktail type drink?
No.
Oh, okay.
Chemist Charles Alderton named this soda after the father of a girl he was dating. What's the product?
Mr. Pibb.
You're so close.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Oh. What's better than Mr. Pibb?
I don't even. Man. Dr. Pepper.
Thank you. Wow. If I would have held my breath, I would have fell off the chair. All right. We're going to let you go, Mike. But that was okay. All right. Okay. Well, here, you can tell me if it's true or a lie.
Okay.
Women remember men with a deep voice more than those with a high voice. Yes or no?
No.
Yes, they do. All right.
Okay.
So use that one,
I
big
just
guy.
think of Loretta. She just despises high nasal voices. So maybe subliminally they don't remember that because they like that deep.
They want the deep,
radio type voice.
Yeah.
Okay.
So like, what is it? Think of Barry White kind of thing.
Yeah, Barry White type thing. Yeah.
The movie trailer guy.
Yeah.
All right. We nearly always pick items from the middle of the shelf in supermarkets. Yes or no?
No.
Yes, we do.
Really?
We always pick items from the middle shelf in supermarkets.
Oh. Right. Okay.
Our ancestors began cooking 1.9 million years ago. True or false?
True.
True. It is true.
Yeah.
All right. Waste treatment facilities ship gum flush down toilets to a special dump in Utah.
I know they get rid of it, but I'm going to say it is Utah.
No, it's not. It doesn't say where, but yeah.
Okay.
All right. I didn't know they collect all the gum and ship it somewhere.
Yeah, they do, actually.
That's disgusting.
That I knew, actually.
That's disgusting. Really?
Yeah, I did not know that.
Oh, really? Oh,
do we do that in Shwela?
I have no idea.
Can we get
so I want to know who the person is that has the gum collection job out of the waste.
All right. We're going to talk to Mike about this. Can we get a tour? Of the sewer treatment facility, and maybe we can find some gum.
Yeah, because it gums it up. That's bad. Oh, okay.
A dot on an exclamation point is called a freck.
I'm going to say yes.
No, it's a lie. I don't know what it's called.
Okay. It's called a dot.
Totally made up.
Okay.
It's just a dot. A planet 4,000 light years away from Earth is made almost entirely of diamonds.
4,000 light years away is diamonds?
Yes.
So that'd be carbon. I'm going to say yes.
It is true. Planet full of diamonds.
Wow.
Yeah.
I want the shuttle to go there with just me on it.
See, the important thing was I said that'll be carbon. So that tells you I have a chemistry background.
Wow.
Which I do, by the way.
Wow, smart guy. Smart guy. Did
he
you know
enough.
that? Did you know? Oh, I was wondering why he said carbon. All right. You're that guy, though, that can take a piece of coal and just squish it between
down.
his hands until it turns into a diamond. All right, we're going to come back in a little bit and talk to our honored citizen. All right. And she got a beautiful bouquet of flowers, and you can see the video on our channel from the candidates night, right?
Yep.
All right. All right, so you should check that out, too, because she gets all teary-eyed.
That's right.
That's right.
Yeah.
All right.
And for a minute there, she was speechless.
Just a minute.
Just a minute, yeah.
I think she was just waiting for her family to come up and join her. That took a little bit. I actually, on the video, it's like they announce you and you come up, and then they ask you to kind of have your family come up for a picture. And then I had to edit the next 3 minutes out while we waited everybody to get up there. So it goes from you asking your family to come up to them
back
appearing.
by one of your members of your family. I don't know who they are, and they kept poking him because he wouldn't get up and go up there.
All right, we'll be back in just a minute. Mayor Dorothy Knauss, you're listening to KCHW Chewelah.
It's 8:02.
Your KCHW morning show made possible by a donation from God-Fearing Brothers Auto Center. God-Fearing Brothers specializes in auto services, including repair, maintenance, and detailing. They also stock tires, provide collision repairs, including glass, and they have an auto sales lot on the corner of Highway 395 and Main Street at the light. For more information, you can visit the Auto Service Center at 806 East Main in Chewelah. Find them online at godfearingbrothers.com or by phone at 509-935-6414.
This is KCHW 102.7.
The Public News Service Daily Newscast, July the 28th, 2021. I'm Mike Clifford. It was, by most accounts, a riveting day of testimony as U.S. Capitol Police Officer Harry Dunn, among others, testified Tuesday that he and other black officers faced racial slurs during the January 6th Capitol insurrection. Politico reports Dunn said he experienced a torrent of racial abuse after he exchanged words with rioters who were denigrating Joe Biden, then the president-elect, and the people who voted for him during the 2020 election. Dunn said he was called the N-word, and after he felt prompted to tell the mob that he had voted for Biden. And as COVID cases trend upward again, public health experts are setting the record straight.
Minnesota's 7-day average for new COVID cases had dipped below 100 earlier this summer. Now it's nearing 300. Health officials blame the combination of the Delta variant spreading and a slower rate of vaccinations. For some who elected to get the shots, there are instances of infections. But David Dowdy, an epidemiologist at Johns Hopkins University, says the vaccines still work. There are just some key things to remember.
Every now and then, that jumpstart is not quite enough to prevent an infection. Almost always, it's going to be enough to prevent you from getting really, really sick.
He says no vaccine is perfect. However, the CDC notes fewer than 1% of COVID deaths and hospitalizations have been tied to fully vaccinated individuals. I'm Mike Moen.
Meantime, the CDC is recommending that fully vaccinated people begin wearing masks indoors again in places with high COVID transmission rates. An Ohio educator and daughter of migrant farmers is sharing the story of how local organizations have come together to help vaccinate a Northeast Ohio community in the midst of a pandemic.
Jessica Molina of Perrysburg says she was inspired as a child by the spirit of activism as she watched her parents participate in rallies and protests advocating for the rights of farm workers. Now as the principal of the only bilingual elementary school in Toledo, Escuela Smart Academy, Molina volunteers with the Farm Labor Organizing Committee, or FLOC, on youth programs. Most recently, Molina has helped FLOC with COVID-19 vaccination efforts, even opening the doors of the school to provide more space for their clinic.
It was important for them to make sure that their members had front row seats to getting the vaccine, which really they did because FLOC's clinic was up and running just like the major hospitals. So I think it was crucial for them to show their members they had their back.
For their contributions to helping migrant farm workers, Melina and her parents recently attended a White House celebration of frontline healthcare workers and volunteers. Mary Sherman reporting.
This is PNS. Pennsylvania's U.S. Senator Bob Casey wants to bring back the Civilian Conservation Corps, a public works program from the 30s that created 3 million jobs nationally, planting trees and creating trails and cabins in national parks.
The Revive the CCC Act, introduced last week by Casey, would focus on jobs to mitigate climate change and address racial justice. Unlike the original CCC, the proposal would also include farms as job host sites. Hannah Smith-Brubaker of PASA Sustainable Agriculture says this on-site support could help farmers deal with flooding and erosion.
Having help to install some of these conservation practices means a lot, because we know that, the margin for farmers is really tight. And so it's sort of a win-win situation. We've got the help on the farms, but then also the ability to pass on this important information.
I'm Emily Scott.
Overdose deaths in the state of Illinois rose by more than a quarter from 2019 to 2020. Medical experts are warning that pills not prescribed by doctors may be counterfeit and could contain deadly levels of fentanyl.
According to the CDC, a majority of overdose deaths are from opioids and synthetic opioids, and the increase is being largely driven by incidents involving fentanyl, which is 80 to 100 times more potent than morphine. Dr. Michael Wall with Illinois Poison Control points out that 1 in 4 of the fake prescription pills seized and tested by the Drug Enforcement Agency contains potentially fatal amounts of fentanyl.
What you buy on the streets or online is highly likely not to be what you think you're buying. And these counterfeit pills, they're actually deadly.
I'm Lily Bulkey reporting.
And finally, our Eric Tegedoff lets us know a Montana campaign is renewing efforts to help identify developmental delays in young children.
The CDC's Learn the Signs, Act Early program is aimed at parents and people who work with children from birth to age 5. As part of that effort, Act Early Montana has launched a website to provide free resources to help folks recognize developmental disabilities. Marcy Hansen, a registered nurse and the Montana Act Early ambassador, says most developmental delays or disorders aren't identified until kids reach school.
What we know is early identification and intervention is really the best for overall health outcomes. So the goal is to get these resources in parents' hands before they hit those early school age years so that we can get them the resources and the tools they need.
By the way, the CDC provides a milestone tracker app that can be used for parents and folks who work with young children. This is Mike Clifford for Public News Service, member and listener supported, heard on interesting radio stations, and you can find our trust indicators online at publicnewsservice.org.
It's a dirty, dusty, bluesy kind of thing. But you gotta hear it for yourself. Catch Dirt Road Doug and the Dirt Road Blues. Wednesday nights at 8 on KCHW 102.7.
KCHW 102.7 looking at 8:09 this morning. Special guest in the studio with us. It's our Honored Citizen of the Year and our Mayor, Dorothy Knauss. Dorothy, thank you so much for being here.
Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
All right, so exciting. And as I was mentioning earlier, if people want to see you kind of accept some flowers and an award, they can go and check it out online on our page. It was the candidates forum put on by the Chamber.
Yes.
All right. So have you ever won an award like that before?
Never.
All right.
Never.
And how did it make you feel?
I was totally overwhelmed. That was the last thing in the world I ever expected to happen that night. I walked in and I saw my family there in the back, and I thought, well, good for them. They're here to figure out who to vote for school district and for for county commissioner. And then my second thought was, well, I wonder why they just didn't ask me to come with them. And then when Debbie called me up to the stage, I thought, well, this is so weird for a candidate's forum. Why would she want me to say anything?
Surprise.
I was totally surprised. Totally.
Excellent. That's the best kind, too, when you're all overwhelmed by it.
It was. It was, totally.
So let's backtrack before we start talking about new mayors and transitions and what the city's going on. Let's backtrack because when you, 8 years ago almost, right?
Yes.
Took over as Mayor of Chihuahua.
Yes.
You were asked to run for mayor by a lot of people, weren't you?
I was asked first by Mike Frizzell, and I did not want to.
But the city had kind of came through a dark time and had some problems and some budget problems, right?
They did. They had gotten an audit finding because they were transferring money from the electric department into the current expense fund, which we'd been doing for 50 years, by the way, and had never been caught by an auditor before. And so they had to address that audit finding. So Mike came to me as he was city administrator and asked me if he could talk to me about that and how to handle that. And at the same time, he said, "Oh, and by the way, would you consider running for mayor?"
And in a weak moment, you said,
I said, I don't really want to do that, and I didn't.
Yeah.
But it has worked out well.
And it did. And I remember you coming in that election and actually having a debate on the radio.
Yeah.
And then you and for a second term.
Yes.
And that was a crazy election for such a small town, wasn't it?
That was a hard election. Yeah, it was a hard election, yes.
Right.
Yeah.
I really felt bad for you. I felt like by the time it was over, you had gotten beat up unnecessarily. In my opinion, it was like I said, it was a lady that was asked to come help the city out that had some experience being mayor. I mean, because you had worked for the city before, right, as
Yes.
an administrator yourself.
Yes.
And you were begged to come in and help the town, and you did. And then you had to fight for the second term, but you won.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
And no interest in doing it again.
You know, I always thought when I finally agreed to run, I always thought it would be 2 terms, and really, I could go another year at this pace, but I can't promise 4. It's been a hectic pace.
Right.
It
Well,
has been.
and look what was dumped on you that you didn't expect.
Yes.
I mean,
yes.
especially the COVID thing.
Yes.
More than anything else. I don't know about that, but it changed the dynamic and how government had to work.
Exactly. It added a lot of stress to the situation,
Yeah.
and then Mike stepping back into the public works director's role and me taking on the city administrator's day-to-day operations has been a lot.
Right. Yeah.
So you can see the end, the signpost at the end that you're jogging toward. Right?
I can really, but these next few months are going to be so incredibly busy. There is so much to do before I leave, so that I can feel like I've left it in good hands and in good condition.
Now, you had kind of talked about when you were on stage at the candidates forum about the transition and about the city administrator position. Are you guys presently interviewing for that position?
We had initial interviews on was it Monday night? Mm-hmm.
Now, is this something that you have to pick before the new mayor, or something that the new mayor will decide, or how's that going to work?
No, it's very convoluted. And I'll just tell you my quandary is that a mayor, I believe 100% that a mayor should be able to pick their own city administrator. But knowing that we will have a new mayor, we will have 3 and maybe 4 brand new council people with no municipal experience, and a new city administrator, that's a recipe for chaos on January 1. So in order to circumvent that, the council decided to hire a city administrator September 1st. So it will ultimately be my choice, but I've done some things to try to help everybody. I wanted to, first of all, protect the candidates for that, the applicants, because they're probably leaving a job to take that one. So, and then I would like to protect the new mayor, hopefully to select someone that the new mayor will then be able to work with. So I've asked the council, and they've agreed to let me offer that person a 1-year contract. And I'll have 4 months with that person, and hopefully a new mayor would at least keep them 4 to 6 months before making a decision whether or not they could work with them. And then if they were dismissed at that point, the city would have to pay out the remainder of that contract. After a year's time, there would be no contract because the city administrator serves totally at the pleasure of the mayor.
So, but that also makes it harder.
Yes.
Because it's a 1-year contract.
Yes.
I know, just from personal experience.
Yes.
That
Yeah.
I didn't like, because I worked a lot on contracts before, and I wouldn't even accept 1 year because
Well,
tough.
The option to that is not to have any contract at all.
Right.
So on January 1, conceivably, a new mayor could come in and say, I don't like you, you're
Right.
out.
So one of the things that crossed my mind is after the primary, when you know where the mayor candidates are going to be.
Yes.
Can they be involved in the interviewing
That's the
process?
second part of the story.
Oh, okay.
No, I'm glad you asked because I had not got to that point yet.
Okay.
What I plan to do, and we told all of the applicants when we interviewed, that on I think the 9th it is, after we know who comes through the primary, then we will invite the candidates back, the applicants back. Then we will invite the two candidates for mayor in to observe an in-depth conversation. And then we'll let the applicants go, and then we can visit with the two mayoral candidates and kind of get some input from them. But the main choice is going to be up to me, but I'm taking all of that into consideration.
Oh, great.
It would be nice, though, if you come out of it and you all three have the same consensus. That'll make you feel
It would be wonderful.
Yeah.
Right.
You can't count on that, but that'd be nice.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
All right.
Well, one of the things that I admired about what you accomplished was, from my perspective anyway, your three-pronged agenda of broadband, airport, and a hotel. And you got to feel really pretty proud of that. I mean, you're a pretty humble person, but because broadband is here for all practical purposes, and the airport obviously has been it's done. It's just transitioning now.
Yes.
And absolutely.
Applause.
And then the hotel, they keep telling me when I talk to Frank, it's coming.
Yeah.
Which it probably is. I mean, I don't see that as an issue. So if you were to look in hindsight, and it's worth a lot, is there anything you would have done differently or added to that agenda?
I don't think so. That was a whale of an agenda because it took a lot of meetings with the tribe on the motel, and finally I went down and said, look, if you guys aren't going to do it, we have to do it, some other way. The airport we started in 2014 to purchase it. It took until the end of 2017 to get that purchase.
Right.
So that was a lot of meetings and correspondence. I think, Mike, the one thing that I'm most proud of, I think, of everything is that somehow I was able to put the right people at the table from the beginning, starting with that visioning committee that had representation from all different agencies and saying, okay, here's where we are, where do we want to go, how are we going to get there? And those were the questions I asked them, and together we put that agenda together.
Yeah, see, and to me, that's a classic bottoms-up decision-making process. The best ideas always float to the top,
Sure.
and then ultimately somebody has to make a decision. But it's nice to have that feedback. And from a golf course perspective, of course, Kay Smith was on that visioning committee, and so when I sat down and visited with her about taking over her position, she was really adamant that bringing me up to speed of what was going on and things like that, and that helped it a lot.
Sure.
But just on the broadband side, yesterday we had a new members orientation that Janet West put together, and there were two people there, one from San Diego and the others from Austin, Texas, that specifically came here because of broadband. So thank you.
Wow. That makes me feel good.
Yeah. I mean, and like the guy from San Diego said, I'm retired, but my wife's not. And frankly, we wouldn't be able to move up here unless we had broadband, because she works from home, and broadband is a requirement to be able to do that.
Super.
And then in hindsight, with the pandemic stuff where everything was shut down,
yes,
it really didn't, at least from a golf course perspective, or there's a resident up there, didn't slow us down at all from a communication standpoint, because we could do that.
Good.
So so thank you.
Yes.
I mean,
So what do you see as an incoming mayor, some of the biggest challenges facing them?
I think if a person is elected and has no municipal experience, learning to work in the government will be their biggest challenge, because I often get this from people who have worked in the private sector, and they just don't understand why the ball rolls so slow. And in government, I mean, you have to do everything. If you try to do a project, there's all kinds of hoops to jump through that you don't have in the private sector. If you want to do a project, if the company has the money to do it, you go out and do it. And you just don't do that in government.
There's not too many jobs out there besides if you really get into large property management where you're responsible for an entire community, from the residents that live there down to the water, the sewer, the garbage, the roads, the infrastructure. There is not a lot of jobs out there besides property management, I think, that gives somebody that kind of experience. And then I think top it off with some nonprofit experience, having to deal with a board of directors, that kind of stuff might kind of warm you up a little bit for working with the city council.
Right.
So yeah, some challenges there. Huh?
Right. With the government, the separation of powers is really important. The council has certain functions, the mayor has certain functions, and then of course the courts have their function. And to keep those separate and everybody doing their own, staying in their own lane, is a real important piece of it.
And then have you seen, and obviously I don't want names, but do you see in our own small town government, do you see a lot of agendas? That where people are involved, but their involvement is based on an underlying agenda. That always scares me. So
not so much anymore, but yes, it scares me too. And in the past, over the years since 1979, working with the city council, I have seen people get elected for a reason, and once that reason is taken care of, they have no interest in the rest of the city, and that's a travesty.
Yeah. Well, I'd mentioned before that. I think I'm going to ask Brandon Hansen to redo his editorial on one agenda candidate. Mm-hmm. It was a phenomenal editorial about the danger in doing that.
Right.
And but on the other hand, somebody asked me about the negative aspect of agenda, and I says, I'd rather have people come in with an agenda, because then at least you know what you're dealing with. I mean, it doesn't necessarily mean whether it's bad or good, but I would expect somebody to have an agenda. It's just whether I agree with that agenda or not is really the issue from a voting standpoint.
Right.
So, I mean, that's a tough one. I can't. There again, I came out of the private sector, and frankly, every year we had a business plan with an agenda. So that's the way it had to be done.
Right. That can be good, but it can also be really bad if that's all the person is interested in. If you remember, in this last election, it was this pool. It was the swimming pool. That was the issue.
Yeah, it was hammered hard, and it even got brought up at candidates night again.
Right.
People were still talking about the pool.
They're still talking.
Right,
about it.
and one thing, if I know. I mean, candidates aren't necessarily asking me for too much advice, but that's what I would say to them. Don't come with an agenda. Think of the city as a whole, because you might have a pocket of people that care about your item, but the majority of people, you have to be thinking about what's best for them.
I really like to. I remember one of the candidates, and I can't remember which one, but just brought up the issue of kids. And I always try to ask that too. What are we doing for kids too in our community? What are we doing for? And I understand the whole pool thing, but I also, and I think we won't beat that to death. But I also believe that is something that a nonprofit group could operate much more efficiently than the city.
I really tried after that election. I really tried to get some folks interested in forming a foundation to raise money and to do that exact thing. But that's a wheel of a lot of work, and nobody picked up on it.
Yeah. Well, because you could get away from that thing of prevailing wage and stuff like that, that I think adds to the cost of having a pool. So,
exactly.
But you know what the nice thing about all that talk is it's something people want.
Sure.
And if we keep thinking about it and we work together, we've done some pretty amazing things in Chihuahua. People have built a theater and all sorts of stuff. So keeping that mindset of that's something important to our community and something we want, and we'll keep looking at it, and I think we'll find a way to make it happen. So.
The volunteers of this community are one of our greatest assets, because as I said when we had the Creative District opening, somebody gets an idea, like Diane Evans for the Creative District, and then other people pick up on it, and pretty soon someone that really has a passion for it steps forward, and pretty soon it's done. There you go. And that's the way a pool could be done if somebody really had a passion for it.
Yeah, and it goes by faster than you think. I mean, because Diane brought that idea to me in 2018.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, and it finally came to fruition, a couple weeks ago.
Sure.
So, and, you know, internally, you're right, dealing with the government as a whole teaches you a whole nother skill set in patience. But I actually got interviewed about how does it, working with the state government coming out of the private sector. And I said, you know, I figured out pretty quick I'm not going to change the rules.
Yeah,
So how do I work with them?
That's important.
And I came out of a really highly regulated environment, so I understood that you got to stay between the fence posts, otherwise, you know. And you know, and then you recruit people to help you. I mean, you know, the creative district. You know, there was a team of people that we'd jump in and
Yes.
You know, like I've been doing all this grant verification work now, and you know, Brad does part. You know, Indigo or not Indigo, but Len does part. Laura does part. I do part.
Sure.
You know, so it helps out, and we have different skill sets.
Yes.
And then ultimately, I just review the whole thing and sign it and send it off.
Sure.
You know, and that makes that less onerous, I guess.
Yeah.
So what's life look like after mayor?
You know, it will be December 31st, and so typically January and February I kind of slow down, and so I'm just looking to read some books, maybe do some quilting, just kind of reset and think, okay, where do I go from here?
So you won't be shooting off fireworks from your house?
No, but my son will be out in the county. He of course couldn't do them on the 4th of July, and so I said, just save them for New Year's Eve.
There you go.
Because you're going to need
have
a
a big
couple
one
to
this year.
put off after midnight. Yes.
Yeah,
right.
Big one for you. All right. So what was your just a favorite thing about being mayor? I'm putting you on the spot. What is one of the best things about being mayor?
Well, I like to think that I have leadership skills, and so being a leader has been fun most of the time. You know, there's just been a lot of fun things that happened during that time. You know, just.
And what was one of the hardest things for you?
One of the hardest things I think is having to do things that people criticize because they don't have enough information, and if they had the information I had, they might have done the same thing. And facing public, criticism or,
It's so easy today, especially with social media, to armchair quarterback somebody else.
Yes.
And to judge them without knowing the whole. One of the funnest things I did was when that whole insurance thing, when the city got new insurance and all the rumors floating around town, is me and Brandon went nuts on that. And just, we called people out for how horrible. I said, we have 2 people in the community, and people are saying horrible things about them, and they don't have a clue how city government works.
Right.
These 2 people have nothing to do with the process of the city and your city council choosing a new insurance vendor. But 2 people got drugged through the mud over it, and that was so fun to go on the radio and call people out for that.
Sure.
And that's a perfect example of people not knowing how city government works and thinking 2 people were doing something in collusion, And that was 2 nice people in our community that really care about their community getting mud thrown on their names for nothing. So I totally get where you're coming from.
Well, and there's things you just can't divulge. I
exactly.
mean, so what people don't understand that, because in an era of under the guideline of transparency, they don't understand that transparency sometimes has to be shut off at some point, for legal reasons and more than anything else.
Exactly.
And there again, you get on Facebook and you can beat people up pretty well without knowing all the facts. And the rumor mill, I love the rumor mill. That's tongue in cheek.
It's alive and well.
It's alive and well. I mean, as Dorothy probably could attest to, you say something with the best of heart and somebody will find fault with it.
Exactly.
So, and then with social media, I mean, they can beat it up pretty fast, and then it just feeds on itself. I mean, and I believe in social media. Obviously, I use it a lot, for the golf course, but I guess
place.
we have to give the public credit. They have enough filters they can get through the crud. But
sure,
but yeah, no, we're in an information age where people think things are. You can get information on demand.
Exactly.
And so. no, it's a very hard position, you know, as far as I can see. And I think you did a phenomenal job. You know, I made a comment the other day. Somebody asked me who I was going to vote for, and I obviously can't name names, but on the other hand, I says I'm going to vote for the person that takes Dorothy agendas and makes it fly higher.
Thank you, Mike. Thank you.
So
I have had, on that topic, I have had so many people call me, email me, call me at home, catch me at church or in the grocery store, and ask me, who shall I vote for? And I said, you know, either if you weren't at the candidate forum, then call someone up and ask them how they feel about an item that's important to you.
Yeah, and if they don't return your call, that tells you something.
That tells you something.
And that video's on Facebook. You can watch them all with your own eyes, too.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
And we were going to kind of talk about that, too. I asked you off mic if you were going to endorse a candidate, and you said probably after the primaries?
I am waiting to see which two come through the primary, and then I probably may endorse one.
Okay. All right. Because people want to know that you're the mayor, and that's important to them. They want to, they hope that you have some kind of feeling and knowledge, and that you've gotten to know them a little bit. So
yes.
All right. Yep. All right. So what do you have? Did you want to talk about transition at all? Is there?
Well, I kind of just did.
That's what I thought.
When we talked about the city administrator. So we did make a new mayor's office because we're running out of room over there. So we made an office and a little conference room at the end of the council chambers, and I probably will be moving in there late August, so that the city administrator then can have my office, which is closer to the action.
So we got some construction going on around town. So a few projects that you're probably wrapping up as you look toward the end. You tired of people whining about Lincoln Street?
You know, actually, I chuckle about it because, you know, prior to construction, people complain about the streets.
Right.
During construction, they complain about the construction, but finally, after the construction, they'll say, "Wow, that's nice." So it's a cycle.
Enjoy my new sidewalk, thank you.
Wait until they reconstruct First Street West, which goes from Lincoln down to Webster on the west side of Safeway, and that's the reconstruction. So that means they dig it way down. That's going to be torn up for a while.
Wow.
And those two entrances to Safeway on the west side will be blocked.
Okay.
So just wait till that happens.
Right. But there's a lot going on. I mean, I think somebody told me the other day they're replacing like 1,600 feet of water line, or they replaced it.
Yeah, we've been doing that all summer because then when we fix the street, we don't want to have to dig it up and redo the water lines. We're in the end of August, the county will be doing about 40 blocks of chip sealing for us. That's the most we've ever done.
Right.
So there's a lot of street work this year.
Yeah, and a lot of that is thanks to Mike Purcell, from what I understand.
Yes,
so,
yeah, he keeps on top of that.
And I know I sent him an email the other day on some stuff for the chamber, and I mean, he got back to me he sent it on Friday, and he got back to him on Monday. So it was very responsive as far as I'm concerned, you know. Yeah, and I learned, don't try calling the guy. He's busy, you know.
Yeah.
But no, I think the city overall, the overall projects are just being done are phenomenal. I mean, in your tenure, look what happened to Main Street. I mean, as far as, in my mind, a complete reconstruction of Main Street. The chip sealing's done around, you know, of course, up where I live, you know, a fair amount of that's been done over the last several years. And, you know, the water line changes, the
new sidewalks.
I mean, the E-horn, you know, cut off is what I call it up there. I mean, there's been a lot done, and that's done predominantly through grants, from what I understand.
Yes.
And that's at the meeting I did yesterday. I talked about the city, and I said, keep in mind that this city, in my mind anyway, from a tax base standpoint, runs very, very efficiently. It's beyond that you got to rely upon grants, and grants are. You know, they're fickle, for lack of a better term, I guess.
You can apply for them, but you may not get them.
Yeah, you may or may not get them, So, but, you know, I think, you know, somebody made the comment to me that been here for a long time. He says, I remember Chihuahua in 2010 and what it looked like versus what it is today, just in Main Street.
Good.
And you know,
and having a good mayor had a lot
that's
to
the
do
leadership.
with that.
That's the leadership
Yes,
issue. Because
yes,
somebody's got to be able to kind of take the people and get them going the right direction. I mean,
One of the good things is the flowers. Sharon Ludwig and I were in Leavenworth for a workshop, and we were just admiring their beautiful flowers. So we decided we'd go to City Hall, find out where do you get your flowers, how do you take care of them, and they told us, and so that we did that next year, and of course this year we were able to buy them locally, and they're gorgeous.
Oh yeah,
just
it does a lot for the beautification of downtown. It's
and
amazing.
I've covered when I came in this morning, for whatever reason, it looks like they grew like 2 feet overnight.
Yeah,
you know, it just jumped out at me. So I know you're involved away from the city on things like Small Cities of Washington.
Yes, I'm the co-chair of the small cities under 5,000, and I represent the whole eastern side of Washington.
So the new mayor gets to look forward to that, or is that a voted position?
No, you have to. You can't be an officer with AWC, Association of Washington Cities, until you've been in office a year.
Okay.
So I got on the board. Well, I'd been a council lady, so I got on the board my first year in 2014. Okay. But I'll be off that board. And so, no, they won't be able to do that.
Okay.
Is there kind of an operations manual or a roadmap for being mayor of Chihuahua that gets handed down when the new person comes in?
Yes, there's a handbook for mayors and councils. There's another book written by an attorney, Steve DiGiulio, who it's Knowing the Territory. It talks about what you can and can't do as mayor, and what the council can do. And then also the Association of Washington Cities, every December that there's an election, puts together a newly elected officials workshop. And actually we've hosted that here in Chihuahua for the past few times, where the newly electeds can come and actually get some training.
Because that was one thing you were very proactive about, was going to classes, knowing your job. And I guess that's why I asked the question, is that fear of somebody that comes in that just doesn't have a clue what it is to be mayor or what they're going to have to do, and was there some kind of roadmap?
Right. If they're willing to network, ask their peers, search out questions, they'll do okay.
Right. So. Any other advice?
No, just, I've told at least 2 candidates who asked me, the others haven't asked me, but I've told them, if you have a heart for Chihuahua, you can learn what you need to learn, but you've got to have the heart that cares about what happens to this city. If you don't have that, you'll just be a figurehead.
Then please run away now.
Right. Fade into the sunset.
Right.
Have I not asked you anything you wish Scott would have asked you or Mike would have asked you?
No, but I do want to ask you if you remember one thing. Do you remember, Mike was talking about finishing Main Street. Do you remember the last segment of the road from Flowery Trail? In that last segment that brought it down here to the Catholic Church.
Right.
Do you remember what we did then?
We went out. We had a live broadcast right there in the street, and an unveiling of the street.
Because I had this idea that when they did the railroad, when they finished the final laps of the railroad, they pounded a golden spike. So I said to Mike Frizzell, "Okay, Mike, find something that you can go and glitter up and bedazzle, and we're going to have a golden spike ceremony," and that's what we had.
I remember
so
that.
is the spike still there?
That was fun. No, it was the top of a little something in the middle of the road. I don't know what it was.
A little reflector.
Lid.
Oh, okay.
It was a lid of some sort.
That's right.
And he bedazzled that until it sparkled and shone, and that's what we did.
All right, and you said that when you came in, the cat tried to bait you?
Yes. If your listeners will remember, my very first time on the radio ever, I was nervous anyway, and your cat came up and laid on this table and turned over on his back, and I reached out to pet his tummy, and he bit me and drew blood.
Actually drew blood, yes.
So, yes, he was trying to bait me to do that again this morning, so thanks, Scott.
Part of the problem is she's offended because you think she's a guy.
Oh, okay. Well, with a name like Mooch, you can't really tell.
That's right.
You
exactly.
Can't tell. But she baited you and showed you the tummy. And it's funny because I told her, I said, "Dorothy's coming tomorrow. It's your last chance."
She was waiting at the door, and then she kept rubbing by my pant leg, and then she flipped over, and I just...
Well, you weren't going for it.
I'm not falling for it.
You are the only person person that besides me that she has ever bit and drew blood. Most people she warns.
And on the air.
And on the air. One of the things that was the funnest, though, is then skip ahead like probably 5-6 years, and we had a transmitter blow up, and we were trying to do a 50-50 raffle and raise money, and we were calling it Mooch Money Madness.
Right.
And you came on the radio and said you would pardon her
Yes.
if she met like a criteria of 8 things.
Yeah.
And you had written some of the best jokes. I didn't know you were a joke. You can always, if you need some extra work after you're not mayor anymore, you can write jokes for me because they were good. She had things like intimidation of a public official and all these things the cat was guilty of. So
Right.
thank you for playing along with that too.
Yeah.
And
Those were the fun times.
were you the ones that were you the one that had the secretaries call me and tell me that the chief was coming over to euthanize the cat, or did they come up with that on their own?
I think they came up with that on their own.
I've always wondered if you were responsible for that, Dorothy, because there was that split second where I thought it was real, and I went, and then I could hear all the girls laughing in the background, and I was like, oh, they just pranked me. So,
Okay.
But thanks for being a good sport and always coming on the radio and
Sure.
taking our questions and letting us know what's happening.
Sure.
Have we missed anything else today?
No, I just wanted to thank you again for helping me out on the fireworks deal. I mean, we needed to get that word out that the fireworks were banned, and you did a good job, and the paper did a good job, and
Facebook did a good
Very
job. People were
successful.
sharing it all.
Yeah.
People
Very
were
successful.
scared of
Yes,
fireworks going
yes.
off.
Yeah, it absolutely made no sense to have fireworks this year. So thank
Right.
you much.
You're welcome. I'm glad we can help. So
Yeah.
all right.
Thank you for having me.
You
All
bet.
right.
Well, thank you for being mayor.
All right.
Thank you. Thank you for 8 years of tough service.
So are you going to be on a consulting contract for the new mayor?
You know, I said I would be available. I think that's what I said in my comments, that I
Right.
would be available. If the mayor, whoever it is, decides to ask me questions, I'm available.
Yeah.
You know, one of the things that always impressed me is you were there at every city event. Every nonprofit group that had an opening or an event,
Right.
you could always count on our mayor being there and being part of the city and being part of what is happening. And that is a big personal commitment beyond your stipend for being mayor or whatever, that other mayors in the past had not done that. And you made it a big part of your leadership of being part of everything that happened in Chewelah, and thank you for that. And I know it was important to me when the radio did something and you showed up, and I know it was important to PACA when they were doing something and the mayor showed up. So for everybody, a big round of thank yous to Mayor Dorothy Knauss.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right. Anything else, Mike?
Nope. Enjoy life after mayor.
Thank you.
I'll be watching for the fireworks.
Okay.
All right. We're going to reset here. We will be back in just a couple seconds and be ready for some odd news. Right, Mike?
You're right.
All right.
You bet.
Slap some bacon on a biscuit and let's go. We're burning daylight.
It's the world of strange. A world gone wacky.
Out here, due process is a bullet.
And some of the scariest people on the planet.
I think you're bluffing. Be afraid. You know, you look mighty pretty when you get mad.
It's your odd news on KCHW.
Just sit back and enjoy the show.
You know, every time John Wayne says that, you look mighty pretty when you get mad. I look over at you and I go, no, not so much.
Not so much. I don't think I've ever been called pretty.
Yeah, really?
Yeah.
Handsomely now.
I'm so pretty. Oh, so pretty.
At least you sing it to yourself.
Yeah, right.
All right.
Yeah, every time I get up and I shave in the morning and look in the mirror, I'm so pretty. Oh, so pretty.
I wonder what Loretta says in the background.
Well,
we'll cross that later.
We won't go there.
All right, let's go here. Let's do our news attack, where the first part is true and the second sentence is a big fat lie or a bad joke.
Okay.
News attack.
Alrighty. Okay. Well, you know, you've heard about this thing called the Delta variant of the COVID virus.
It sounds exciting.
That's the Deltas before the Lambda.
Okay.
Okay, but anyway.
I thought it was Lambada.
Lambada? Oh, okay. A little Richie Valens there?
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Well, thanks to the Delta variant of the COVID, the CDC is asking many people to mask up again. Sweet. I can stop brushing my teeth again.
Did you ever smell your own breath in the mask and go, ooh, what did I just eat? Just saying.
Okay.
All right, big news here. It's a birthday. The Egg McMuffin turns 50 today. And it actually tastes like it. It tastes like it's 50.
Okay. All righty. Well, you know, once again, Iceland.
Yes.
Has been named the world's most peaceful country because everything is frozen solid. Maybe mine's better. The word insurrection isn't even in their dictionary.
It's too much motivation for them. Once again, Iceland, if you haven't heard, has been named the world's most peaceful country.
Yeah.
It's amazing. I'm guessing Twitter isn't available there.
Oh, so Iceland's got 2 plugs.
Yeah,
Who
it did.
cares?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. 2/3 of new parents admit they're just winging it through their child's first year.
Brandon Hansen.
Yeah, I love the little picture I saw the other day where he's already got him in front of a Star Wars movie.
Yes, he's already.
You know, that kid's going to have a lightsaber for his first birthday.
That's right. He's already seeding it.
All right. Well, something you can remind parents if they give you grief over how you're doing as a college freshman.
Winging it through the kid's first year.
Winging it, yeah.
All right, average person tosses over $500 in uneaten fruit each year, over $500. But why? The expiration date on my roll-ups is like 5 years out. Fruit roll-ups doesn't count as fruit?
No.
Maybe I shouldn't be putting them in my smoothie.
I always thought fruit roll-ups would be good for tire plugs.
Yeah.
You know, to plug flat tires.
It looks like something you'd use it for. Some kind of duct tape.
Okay, all right. Well, you know, your old girlfriend, Paris Hilton.
Yeah, what can you say about her that hasn't been said?
That's right. Okay, says stories are false. She's not pregnant. The fact it's Paris Hilton. She's not even sure how it would happen.
I don't know how that happens.
You know, yeah. Well, you know, here's a lady that's worth like $330 million now.
Doing
runs
nothing.
Multi businesses. You know, and
her brain is gone. Walmart upgrading its program that helps employees wanting to earn college degrees by fully covering the cost of tuition and books. Look at you, Walmart.
Good. Yeah.
Employees will also get big discounts on pajama bottoms so they have something to wear to class.
Yeah. Have you've seen all those pictures of people in Walmart type thing?
Oh, yes.
Have you ever personally seen that? I never have.
What, seen something absolutely crazy in Walmart?
Oh, yeah. Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
Well, maybe I don't go to Walmart enough.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was in there one day in the Colville one, and there was a guy in a startling pink tutu.
Well, it is Colville.
Yes. All right, on to wacky but true, and today's stories are absolutely horrid. We'll try to dress them up with some sound effects, but I mean, these stories are so bad, we probably shouldn't even talk about them, but we're gonna.
Yep. Okay. There's a disclaimer on the front of these. These are stories only. They do not reflect Scott or Mike's.
Yeah, that's right. This is
Attitude
not
nor
our opinions.
our opinions.
We want nothing to do with this.
Yeah, but we have to read the news.
That's right. And we'll say it wasn't us.
Okay, well, let's go to Indiana.
Yes.
Yeah, you're an old Indiana guy, right?
I am. I've lived in Indiana.
Yeah, I know.
It's not a nice state.
And I've been there.
Cornfield, Walmart,
What
cornfield.
I remember is flat and smoggy.
It's gross.
It's gross.
The only thing nice about Indiana is there is about a 3-week period where they have fireflies. Other than that,
all right. Okay, well, authorities in Fishers, Indiana, say they're cracked the case of the woman who's been pooping on neighborhood lawns during her early morning jogs through town. This happened in Denver a while back, didn't it? Okay.
Hold on. No. You got to hold on, okay?
Okay.
You just have to hold on. Because before we do a poop story, we should have played this. Okay. Hold on. Sorry, I didn't have it ready.
The story you were about to see is true.
Okay, Officer Friday. Officer Friday urged the unidentified woman to seek professional help, although she may still face charges.
Uh-oh.
Residents say the pooping delinquent always comes prepared to clean herself up afterwards, although she doesn't extend the courtesy to her neighbors.
Oh, man.
One woman said, "Toilet paper is the calling card." I wonder if she knows how to sort gum from sewage. Anyway, we know when we see that she's been around. Residents have put out no pooping signs in hopes of deterring the woman from leaving something behind. They also spent several days trying to identify her on social media.
From leaving something behind.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Boy, this is a long story.
It is.
Oh, I mean. Okay, only one local managed to capture footage of the fecal offender on their doorbell cam and ultimately led police to the culprit. They announced on Thursday they've identified the woman.
Yay!
They've added that she was number 2 in the suspect case after at least one other individual falsely accused locals on social media.
Oh, could you imagine being falsely accused on Facebook for being a serial pooper?
Okay.
It wasn't me. It's not mine.
Oh, this is This is a story for tomorrow, not today.
I should have
This is
saved it for the
lowbrow.
Three Amigos.
That's right, the Three Amigos. Okay. The unidentified pooper is not the first jogger to drop trow. Shouldn't relieve herself on the running route. Colorado Springs grappled with the mad pooper who did the same in 2017. See, I thought it was Denver, but Colorado's Colorado. While Toronto dealt with its own run-by-dumper back in 2018.
The lines in that story, just the one-liners that they put in, the fecal offender, deterring the woman from leaving something behind. It's just absolutely horrible.
You sure you didn't write this story?
I did not write this story.
Okay.
I did pick the following sound effects, though.
Okay.
Ken, everybody's focused on me bum. I know. You've got the most famous fanny in O-Town.
Or possibly this one.
These people are nuts!
That's more like it. All right, next story. Almost as bad. Would-be robber in Brooklyn, New York, not only left empty-handed after his victim repeatedly fought him off, but also briefly lost his shorts during the struggle. The caught-on-camera confrontation unfolded as the suspect tried to steal money from a 25-year-old man. The suspect knocked the victim to the ground and unsuccessfully tried to steal the victim's cash as he dragged him on the sidewalk. It's not bad enough he got knocked down. Now he's just dragging you all over.
Yeah.
During the robbery attempt, the suspect's shorts slipped down, revealing his underwear. Wonder what color they were. Few men came out to the victim's aid, interrupting the suspect. The assailant gave up and fled in a white SUV, possibly a Ford Bronco. He's also still being sought by police as of Monday. All right. And apparently the guy just wants his shorts back.
I'm not wearing any pants. Film at 11.
Yes, stand by.
Okay, Scott, do you get bored?
All the time.
Okay, all right. Well, this story's for you.
Okay.
Okay, a South Carolina man said he only bought the scratch-off lottery ticket that earned him a 6-figure jackpot because he was bored. So every time you get bored, go buy a lotto.
Okay.
Okay, all right. Do you have enough money?
Can I borrow $10, Dad?
Okay, all right. The man, whose identity was not released, told South Carolina lottery officials he bought a $10 scratch-off ticket because he was bored and looking for something to do.
We'll work for lottery tickets.
We'll work. The man soon felt his boredom vanish when he scratched off a $375,000 prize.
Wow.
Of which you only get half if you take.
Still low. Still low.
Or you annuitize it over 20 years. I mean, it's still.
What is that? It's like $162,050.
Then minus taxes.
Well, I was saying before that, though.
Yeah.
The half of it.
Yeah.
All right, I'll take the tax bracket. You know what you say when you win $375,000.
Sweet.
Yeah. Scratch off that ticket.
Surprise, surprise, surprise.
Especially if you're simple. Okay. All right, sorry. I think it's my turn. Under Fort Worth, Texas City Code, grass must be kept under 12 inches high. And one man has been cited for violating that code 7 times in the last 2 years. The 7th time, Fort Worth police accompanied code compliance officers in a city-hired mowing company to serve the violation. When nobody answered a knock at the door, the crew just started mowing. And then the bullets started to fly. Pew, pew, pew. Homeowner allegedly opened fire on the police, code enforcement officers, and the lawnmowers. In fact, the SWAT team responded, and after an hours-long standoff, the homeowner walked out wearing a hazmat suit. He was promptly arrested. Why was he in a hazmat suit?
Oh, no.
Well, now go away or I shall taunt you a second time.
You know, he must be a good shot, though, because he didn't hit anybody, so he's just trying to scare him off from mowing his lawn.
You'll be very careful out there today. We're a terror alert orange, which means something might go down somewhere in some way at some point in time. So look sharp.
So, yeah, our last story.
Yeah.
You know, I used to manage a trailer park. Did you know that about me?
Yeah, I knew that about you.
I used to manage a big trailer park, a really big one.
Really big one, huh?
Like 430 trailers.
Ooh, okay. Was it in Louisiana?
It was in Indiana.
Okay.
All right.
All right.
So tell us about the trailer park I'm going to take over.
Okay. All right. Well, you know, Scott, if
Yes?
you're looking to spice up your love life with
Yes.
outdoor experience,
Yes.
there's a new spot for swingers operating in Mamou, Louisiana.
Okay.
Okay, you got that name, right?
Yeah.
I see the zombie mobiles out there ready to go.
It is.
Okay. All right. Okay. It's called the T-Boys Swinger Trailer Park, and its motto is bring your house and share your spouse.
Wow.
Wow. Whoa.
Is there a drum roll for that? Just don't tell your wife.
Yeah. Well, what I'm thinking about is only in Louisiana. Okay.
Wow. That's a good motto. Bring your house, share your spouse.
Okay. David Ockhine, the man behind T-Boys, and claims the swinger community is surprisingly bigger than you may think.
Huh.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay. Oh, so it's putting up a sign where the swinger park will be. Ockhine says he's gotten calls from all around the country.
Huh.
Really? Well, I see. Like I said, the zombie mills all like gassed up, ready to go, right?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. He said the grand opening of T-Boys Swinger Park is set for Memorial Day weekend of 2022, so you still got time.
All right.
Okay. When it's finished, the site will have a nude pool, a nude yoga station, a strip poker hall, and a key party cabana. All I can say is only in Louisiana.
You had me at nude yoga.
The ugly people know who they are.
Howdy, Uncle Henry Toto! It's a twister! It's a twister!
I had one more sound effect for the new trailer park.
Okay.
They will do everything possible to test us, but they will only test their own embarrassment.
Honey, wait till you get a load of our new neighbors.
Okay.
All right. They wouldn't let my zombie wagon into a trailer park.
Oh, it wouldn't?
No, they wouldn't. But they will let me do this.
You're gonna end up eating a steady diet of government cheese and living in a van down by the river.
That's the more the way Scott will go. All right. All right, that is our odd news for
Wednesday.
Any closing words?
Well,
I don't think
go
we have
out and
any
enjoy
events
the
coming.
weather. It's going to get hotter.
It's going to get hotter this weekend.
It's going to get hotter. You
All
know, hydrate, play a little golf.
And one more time, a big thank you to Mayor Dorothy Knauss.
Absolutely. Yep.
For everything.
Yep.
All right. Other than that, I'm Scott.
I'm Mike.
And this is KCHW 102.7. Have an awesome day.
You want the truth? You want the truth? You can't handle the truth!